Hi everybody, it's Brian from the techmob.net, and today I'll be bringing you my little mini review of the HP TouchPad. This is the 16GB Wi-Fi only model. Now you can see that I still have the plastic on the touchpad, and I don't plan on taking this off because pretty much after I do this video and a couple more videos regarding the HP TouchPad, I'm pretty much going to be putting this back in the box, and I will be putting this on eBay because they are selling for a pretty good price over there, so I might as well just put this one up there. So first I'm going to give you a quick tour of the device itself. So you're going to have to excuse the plastic that's still on the device. So there on the right side of the device you do have your volume rocker, so you have your up and down buttons. Nice and clicky. They do feel a bit cheap though. The entire device, it's well built, but it just feels a bit cheap because of the materials that HP decided to use. Pretty much all plastic, all glossy black plastic on the back, so it will definitely get a lot of fingerprints. So the power button is up in the upper right corner. In terms of button layout, it's pretty much exactly the same as the iPad, and the overall design is also the same as the iPad because we do have a little home button right down here at the bottom center, just like on the iPad. Now there is a front-facing camera right there in the top middle. There is no rear-facing camera, which is a bit odd. A lot of people were pretty much wondering why there isn't one. Speaker location. I'm assuming it's somewhere on the back. I just can't really find it, but there is at least one speaker, so sorry that I'm not able to show you where it is. So I've been playing with this for about a couple hours, about 2 to 3 hours, and my experience with me, if I pick up a device and I know it's going to be good, I know it's going to be good within the first couple of minutes of using it. For this device, to me it's just not good, and the OS is the letdown as expected, or else HP wouldn't have discontinued webOS. So here is your main home screen. The actual interface of webOS is beautiful. The keyboard itself is really nice. Let me bring it up. Here it is here. Unfortunately, if you're a fast touch typist as I am, then this keyboard is not for you. On the iPad, you could put multiple fingers down on your device at once and it will register all of them. On the touchpad's keyboard, it will only register one at once. So you can see that I just put a bunch of fingers down at once and it only registered 2 of the keys that I pressed. So if you type really fast, you sort of leave maybe one finger still on the keyboard while you're going to the next letter. It's not gonna register the next letter until you really let go of it. It's just sort of hard to explain, but if you're a fast typist like me, then you're going to have some issues with this keyboard. And you can see that in the lower left is where the tap button is located. It doesn't really seem to be like the ideal location, so if they can move this up where it would be on a normal standard keyboard, that would be much better. So here are the stock applications that are installed. You get Quick Office, Adobe Reader, Facebook app, even though this takes you to the HP app catalog instead of the actual app itself, so it's not actually on your device. Now if you do have a Palm Pre, you could pretty much sync it up with your phone here and be able to, like if somebody calls your Palm Pre, you could answer it and take the call on your touchpad. It also has some sort of Skype integration as well, so that's sort of nice. You can see how long it's taking to load the phone application. A very long time, very not ideal if you actually plan on using the device for phone and video calls. And that gets to my most hated thing about webOS. It's just so freaking slow. This thing has a dual-core processor, 1 gig of RAM, and it's still very slow. As HP said, they said that they put it inside of a web browser on the iPad too, and it performed way faster than it does on the actual touchpad hardware. So overall, the performance of webOS is horrible. The speed is just extremely slow, and after you open about 4 to 5 apps, things just get sluggish. So here's the music app. You can see that it's already taking forever. On the iPad 2, it would have been 1 second. Even on the iPad 1, it would have opened faster than this. So let's leave that one there and let's go to phone and video calls again. You can see how long it's taking. This is just, people want things to be fast and instant. This is not the tablet to go for if that's what you're looking for. It's just very slow. Let's open the calculator. In iOS, it's an instant opening application. And here, such a simple application like this takes that long to load. So there's definitely some performance issues with webOS. So let's go to the Photos and Videos application really quick. I can show you a little bit of that. So I took some screenshots. It's just like iOS. So you push the home button at the over here, and then your power button, like so. Very similar to iOS. So there you go. Here is the screenshot that I just took. And of course you can scroll through your photos. And this comes to my next issue with webOS. The transitions of most things just aren't smooth. Like in iOS, everything is silky, buttery smooth. On webOS, just the frame rate of the transition here is slow. This is like 20 frames per second, while on iOS it's at least 60 all the time. It's just a very sluggish experience. Even when using multiple fingers to zoom in and out of things, it's also just a sluggish experience, and I just don't think that users are going to like that. So let's go out of this app and try to open a couple more. So let's go to the messaging app. Now this app here is actually pretty useful, although it is very slow and it doesn't perform very well. I hooked up my it just takes a long time for certain things to happen. So let's go to add an account, and this is pretty much an instant messaging application. So earlier today I had AOL Instant Messenger hooked up to the TouchPad, and it worked, but it was just really slow. After you type your message and hit enter, it just takes like 3 seconds before it shows up on your screen. And then if you tap in the middle of an area, or if you want to scroll through your messages, the keyboard goes away and there's just a big gray blank space there, and then everything will eventually go down. It's just, I don't know, like a very early beta, possibly an alpha. It's just the performance of webOS is just beyond horrible. So here we have our multitasking interface. So this is pretty cool. This works very well. You'll easily be able to jump to your backgrounded applications, and you could immediately start using them. So if I go back to calculator, it opens up and I can start pushing the buttons on the keypad. If I go back to my Photos app, I could immediately start scrolling through my photos. If I go back here, I could just start tapping on buttons. So switching between your open applications is a very nice experience, and closing them is very nice as well. Just flick up like so. I'm going to move on to the browser just to give you guys a little speed performance thing. So we're going to go to google.com, and it finally loaded. Google is instant on pretty much every other platform except webOS. Now to me that took a long time to open. Google is a very straightforward website, and it just didn't seem to open as fast as it should. Now let's go to another website such as YouTube. Still waiting. Now the touchpad does support Adobe Flash. Let's just open a random video. Let me go back. Okay, first let me talk about the scrolling and zooming in experience. So excuse me if I make so many comparisons to iOS, but to me it's just far superior to everything else out there. So scrolling up and down, it's not smooth. In iOS, it's silky smooth 60 frames per second when going up and down and zooming into your web pages. WebOS is a lot like Android. It's just not silky smooth. It's just sort of a sluggish thing. So now let's go to this video. I have no idea what it is, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you the flash performance of this tablet. So it's loading the video in 360p, and right now it's showing an advertisement, of course. Go ahead and turn the volume up. Now I do have the clear plastic film still on the device, and the speaker doesn't get loud, but I will imagine that even without this it still won't be that loud either. So here we are playing a 360p flash video on the touchpad. So far it seems pretty good. Let's go into full screen and see how it works. This is not HTML5, this is actual Flash. So right now the orientation is screwing up, everything is upside down, so let's just play along and flip everything over. So for Flash video it seems perfect. Let's bring it up to 720p just to see what happens. Now I believe that the resolution of the screen on this device is 1024 by 768, which is the same as the iPad. So right now it's playing at 1280 by 720. Sort of hard to see the video because of the glare and stuff, but it is playing just fine, which is good. So let's go to something different, such as a Flash game. So I'm just going to go look up Trials 2, if I could spell it properly, because the A button was being difficult. So Trials 2, let's go to that, and you can see how long it took to open the Google result page. Ooh. So here we are. So Trials 2, it's just a basic Flash game. You use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move your motorcycle around. So audio-wise, it works. You can see that the frame rate of the game itself is very sluggish, like everything else webOS related. So I tapped on the level and it's just now loading, and you can see that the frame rate is horrible. So let me go back to a different level and you'll see the motorcycle sort of come down onto the ground, and you'll see how slow it is. It's like 4 frames per second. It's just not, if you plan on doing Flash video is fine, just everything else is not. So you might as well just go to the YouTube app to open the videos that you'd like to see. So with webOS, you don't have actual tabs in your browser. Instead, it opens up a second instance of the browser application. So here we have the browser. Let me go to our website over at thetechmob.net. And it somehow missed the dot, but Google already knew what we were talking about. So, slow, loading the website. And it's still loading. So like I said, it just opens up a second instance of the browser instead of opening up a new tab. So here we are going to that one. We can switch back to this one. If we're done with one, we can just flick it away like so, because they're just applications instead of an actual tab that's opening within the browser itself. So overall, the overall user experience just isn't that good. The UI itself looks great. It's very beautiful. I like the way things are laid out. It's just that the performance is very horrible. The iPad 2 is much faster than this for pretty much everything. So that's it with this video. I know I bashed the TouchPad a lot, but to me it's just not that good of a tablet, which explains why HP pretty much killed everything regarding webOS. So that is pretty much it with the video. You can leave any of your comments, questions, or suggestions down below. I will be doing comparison videos with this and an iPad 2 and possibly an iPad 1 just for fun, just to throw that into the mix because it has a single core processor and 1/4 the amount of RAM. So that's it with the video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.